Good day, everyone. I am Jeremy Ricomi, and I'll be the one to continue the topic of the fiscal policy that includes revenue reform. So, Malacanang claims that Philippines has staved off the worst effect of recent global economic setbacks and controlled the budget deficit by collecting taxes vigorously and spending money prudently. So the palace says its revenue collection of 626.63 million was 47.57 billion of 7.3% higher than the 584.6 billion target. So the BIR collected 425.35 billion, exceeding its 2003 target by 0.3% and 2002 collection by 7.8%. The Bureau of Customs, on the other hand, raised 106.9 billion pesos, which is 6% higher than the target and 10.2% more than its 96.25 billion peso collection in 2002. Total government expenditures amounted to 826.5 billion, only 5% higher than 786 billion program for the period, according to President Arroyo. For 2004, the government aims to keep the deficit at 197.8 billion, and on January 2004, the budget deficit amount to 16.12 billion. In January 2003, the budget deficit was recorded at 13.95 billion. And last, in 2002, both BIR and BOC fell short of their target, despite increasing collection in the last quarter of that year. Growth climate. Malacanang explains that government spending, which reached 69.25 billion, exceeding the January 2003 level of 64.69 billion by 4.56 billion or 7%. So the real GDP grew by 4.5 in 2003, the fastest since the Asian crisis and among the region's top performer, despite the Iraq wars, SARS, and the Oakwood Mutiny, says the president. Net factor income from abroad, or NFIA, continued to drive up GNP, which grew by 5.5% compared to 4.5%. So President Arroyo also takes pride in having kept the prices of basic commodities at 2000 level, which grow, such as rice is 19 peso per kilogram, sugar is 27 per kilogram, canned sardines is 8 pesos for 155 gram, soy sauce is 9 pesos for 350 ml, and the last is iodized salt for 5 pesos at 250 gram. So, industrial peace. The president also ordered the bureaucracy to simplify and clarify the system of incentives and interpret investment laws in favor of investor. So, as a result of BOI and PISA, approved investment rose up to 6.24% to 33.27 million compared to 31.32 billion in 2002. Among the big investors for 2003 are Victoria's Bioenergy, which is 4.5 billion, Petron Corporation, which is 5.2 billion, Asia Pacific Energy is 2.5 billion. So Sun Power is which manufactures solar water cells, is 2.5 billion. Solid broadband, 2.5 billion pesos. And the last is Asian terminals is 1.8 billion. So, a bankrupt government. The bankruptcy of the Arroyo administration became more pronounced in 2003 and remained government's biggest headache. So, the country's balance of payments as of October 2003 recorded a surplus of $159 million, and it does not reflect a healthy fiscal position, which which is a negative trade balance and sparse inflow of productive capital. Borrowing binge. So the flow of speculative capital or portfolio of investment contributed largely to BOP surplus, or also called hot money. So it reached $472 millions as of October 2003, or 141% higher than its level during the same period in 2002. So in addition, government debt bolstered the BOP surplus as the Arroyo government continued its borrowing binge in 2003. So from January to September alone, government borrowed 320 billion, of which is 44% came from foreign creditors. So, as of September 2003, the country's external debt stood at 1.5 billion, or 1.5 trillion, of which 51% are direct from the government debt, and 49% are from foreign bonds. So budget deficit. As October, the budget deficit is pledged at almost 164 billion, but government project it will not overshoot its imposed ceiling of 202 billion for full year 2003 as the Bureau of Customs Collection improved. So, in that there are reasons to be cautious, because while BOC collections exceeded its 100.1 billion target, the Bureau of Internal Revenue is still 36 billion short of its own mark. Cosmetic reforms. After the collapse of Cancun Ministerial of the World Trade Organization, or WTO, in September 2003, Arroyo started instituting several reforms to appease the sectors badly hurt by liberalization. So the tariff hike on selected raw materials and intermediate product is expected to gain 15 billion in revenues yearly. So in terms of revenues generation, the project impacted of this reforms is minimal. So also the impact of the reforms is also negligible, considering that their coverage is narrow and increases are too small. Relying on foreign aid. Due to its bankruptcy, Arroyo administration turned into a foreign funding to finance and develop programs and projects. So, to attract new commitments from funders and ensure the continuation of fundings for ongoing projects and programs, Arroyo takes advantage of the War Against Mindanao National Initiative. And that's all for my report. Thank you for listening. Any questions?